Even though I have this perfect strategy in place and I have a very high win rate, is it possible that I would end up with a losing account when I would trade live? And if yes, then what can I fix?
So the biggest difference between backtesting and going live or trading it on a live market could be demo.
Well, I mean, the RTD for me is a huge deal because before the local trend, before my win rate would be between 65 to 80%, and now I haven't backtested that much, but it's between 74 and 95, so it'll move by 10 to 20%, which I think is insane. TP2 in 30 minutes, just because I was able to very quickly take this one candle that just really touched the level and then just went back up and then right straight to TP2, so that was amazing. And without X mode that wouldn't be possible. So I do believe that a lot of people take X mode for granted once they master it, but more and more I realize that with X mode it's actually very, very easy. So BFT was my first true let's say look into the world of trading, and I firmly stand by the claim that BFT is the best thing that's ever happened to me in terms of trading and possibly in terms of having freedom in my life. But the thing is that you said yourself, right? After 3 years, you were still blowing your accounts, and here we have traders who are with BFT for a few months, 6 months, maybe a year, and they are becoming funded, which I think is absolutely amazing. And
that still blows me out of the water, because when I think about my journey, like it takes a lot of time, but then you have people like you and the other people in the dojo. It's the first year in trading and they're getting their first like 100k 200k to trade, which for me in my first year of trading would be like I wouldn't even imagine. So what you guys have here with BFT, it's something really special. I think for yourself, you've been trading since May. That's not a long time at all. And if you're seeing just on backtesting even, an 80% win rate, that's really good. Your psychology has the same importance as risk management. You can have the best strategy, but if your psychology is not aligned with the strategy, it's not going to work. How long have you been trading now?
Since May, I think, and let's just say it's been a very rocky road, but thankfully, thanks to BFT, I haven't blown my account or anything. Let's just say I get very overexcited and I'm very stubborn, which is a double-edged sword, as you like to say. But thankfully, I decided, okay, like I'm doing lots of stupid things, but I can learn from those stupid things and I can improve my strategy, so I do less of them over time. And at this point, I believe that if I have enough results from a live trading account, then let's say in 2 months, I should be good to go for being funded. I actually thought about Audacity just because Barry is with them and they seem quite nice. However, there's this one thing I have on my mind today, incidentally, that I would like to talk with you about. Mm-hmm. And when I do backtesting, I kid you not, I have results. I have win rate as high as 95%, which to me is absolutely insane. And what I pretty much do is I stick to some basic rules that I set for me. For example, I don't necessarily wait for confirmations. That's something that I should be doing, but incidentally, my win rate is still sky high, so I don't consider it an issue, but I always stick to the trend. I always make sure that it's 75 or 100% level strength, right? So the basics. And of course, there's going to be margin of error because some trades you think that they got triggered, but they didn't. In some situations, again, you thought you had TP2, but you missed it by like less than a pip, right? Yeah. So, yeah. But even if I give myself margin of error of 20%, that's still 70% win rate, and I actually think it's quite higher than like I'm not that bad at I don't have that much wishful thinking. So I suppose the one thing I don't want to say struggling with a little bit, but the one thing I suppose I need some sort of assurance or something is that, I mean, if I have a strategy which has very good risk management, I would like to say I'm quite proud of the strategy I came up with, which essentially is just limiting me from trading too much. And if I know that my win rate is at least 70% on pretty much all the pairs I'm trading, then it's not physically possible to lose on a live account if I literally stick to the strategy and I trade pairs, which I have 70% win rate and higher, right?
So what's the exact question?
Right. So again, win rate on backtesting super high.
Yeah.
Strategy, I would say, is very good. I can briefly describe it, but essentially I'm giving myself a drawdown of max 3% per week, and that's through 4 trades, where if I lose 2, I take a break and I reduce the risk to 0.5%, and essentially even if I fail 4 trades, I will not have lost more than 3%.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. I also reduce risk if I win too much. So on my 5th trade, I would also reduce the risk. So it'd be 4.5% total exposure if everything goes well. So in a week, I can always lose more than I can gain more than I can potentially lose. The question, okay, so you asked for a specific question, and I know like everything I say is like a story instead of just getting straight to the point.
No worries.
So is it possible, or I want to hear now, but is it possible that even though I have this perfect strategy in place and I have a very high win rate, is it possible that I would end up with a losing account when I would trade live? And if yes, then what can I fix?
So the biggest difference between backtesting and going live or trading it on a live market, it could be demo or live, is that when you're backtesting, you can go through a week of data through every session. So you can go through London, New York, Asia, and you'll trade all those sessions in backtesting through the entire week. But when you're trading live, you're only able to sit through 1 session or 2 max, right? You won't be able to trade all 3 sessions. So when you're backtesting, the biggest thing you have to look for is only backtesting the sessions where you can actually trade and where you're going to be available. For example, you're not going to be trading, probably not Sundays. Mondays you could be trading. Fridays you're probably not going to trade. On back testing, you're probably going to trade those days because you don't really look at the time. So that's the biggest difference. If you can manage to trade with a high win rate within those times, then it's just a matter of keeping your emotions in check and your risk management. Your psychology has the same importance as risk management. You can have the best strategy, but if your psychology is not aligned with the strategy, it's not going to work. So if you have rules and set for yourself to be able to manage your emotions and not take a trade when you shouldn't be taking a trade, for example, if you go over your max risk and stuff like that, from there it's just a matter of sticking to the rules. So if you have a trading plan that works on backtesting, and again on backtesting you can't see, okay, how much did I actually lose on this trade? Well, how much did I make? Soon you will be able to once that part of BFT comes out, but right now we can't. So it's just a matter of following the plan. So I mean, the best way for you to do that is just go on demo and try it out for like a month or a few weeks. If you can repeat your backtesting results on demo, then you can also repeat it on live, as long as you stick to the rules. Again, it kind of comes back to your own psychology, if you can stick to it or not. That's all it comes down to. But if you can't patiently wait for the right setup, then it's not going to work, because on backtesting you can just skip ahead a few hours until there's a good setup. When you're trading live, it's gonna feel like 10 hours, not 10 minutes. Does that make sense? But yeah, if you're having good results on trading on backtesting, you're not gonna blow or lose your account when you're going live.
I suppose the biggest thing is that when you're trading live, for example, last week I did have a few losses, but I was able to have no more than 3% just because I set the rule that max drawdown per week is 3%. And I was still able to keep trading just because I reduced the risk. So I would fit in those 3%, but at the same time I wouldn't have FOMO or anything like that. So I am quite happy about that. But for example, last week...
So sorry to cut you off. Now this week, so let's say you're down 3% from last week. Some people, they get afraid in the next week take trades because they don't want to turn that 3% into 6%. So again, when you're backtesting, you're not going to have that fear, but when you're trading live, you're going to have a fear of digging yourself into a hole. Does that make sense? Do you have those feelings, or?
Incidentally, I did lose the first trade of this week. I just do 1 trade per week, but incidentally, that's what happened. Where I thought I took like an amazing trade after I had finished my backtesting, which was 92%, I think. So I took Euro CHF. I was like, okay, this is an amazing trade. Everything seems to be working well. Trend levels, blah blah blah. I lost. So I was expecting the win, like it felt guaranteed to me, but I didn't get it because the market does what it wants in the end, right? So I of course realized it's still all a probability game, and even though it was a perfect trade and my win rate is I'm gonna say, let's say 80% to be a bit more realistic, there's still 20% of loss. So I suppose it was just a bit harder to accept the loss just because I'm less used to it psychologically, just because I'm used to my win rate being so high right now. But I know at the same time that the rule is just to keep going, within reason, of course, not overtrade and all that stuff, but it's just to keep going. The main concern I have right now is if there's not something that I am missing, in a sense that I have my mental game or mental strategy, I have my dojo XMO trading strategy, but if I have the mental game in place, if I have a very good win rate, is there something that can be preventing me from getting good results on live that I haven't possibly looked at?
Well, if your mental game is in check, if your strategy is in check, then you're a good trader. So there shouldn't be anything else between that. There's always going to be, the mental aspect. There's always going to be something that kind of affects us, and it's always something you're gonna it's always going to be something you're going to keep improving on, because the market changes. Something going to go through a bigger sequence of losers. Sometimes you're going to go through a really big sequence of winners. You forget about your rules, you become really confident, and then you mess up again. So, but as long as you follow the plan where you have your risk management, if you kind of mess up on the psychology side, you have your risk management in place to keep you from taking further bad trades. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the one thing that I recently lost a decent chunk of my account, and it was before the. Well, I mean, the RTD for me is a huge deal because before the local trend, before my win rate would be between 65 to 80%, and now I haven't backtested that much, but it's between 74 and 95. So it moved by 10 to 20%, which I think is insane. And the local trend was what caused all of my losses, incidentally, because when I was backtesting, I would always have these several losses in a row, which was trading against the local trend pretty much, because I did notice that there were these, when I was buying, there were these lower highs, lower lows. So that's resolved now, right? So that's 10 to 15% win rate right there. I was going to say something, and I forgot what that was. It was something, oh yes. I do believe that more and more what trading really is about is just the psychological part, because, I mean, with X mode, I do like to think it's actually pretty damn easy to trade. And I do believe that we take X mode for granted, in a sense that sometimes you may, for example, when I would take a super strong support level without confirmation, like people don't necessarily know where it is, right? And it would take them a long time to plot, but I just put it there because it's a super strong level, go to the trend, everything, and I get a trade. And then there goes, like, it happened once. I got TP2 in 30 minutes just because I was able to very quickly take this one candle that just really touched the level and then just went back up and then right straight to TP2. So that was amazing. And without X mode, that wouldn't be possible. So I do believe that a lot of people take X mode for granted once they master it. But more and more I realize that with X mode, it's actually very, very easy. I don't think super hard when I backtest incidentally. If I did proper analysis, I think the win rate would be even higher. But the mental game is what a lot of people fail on, and that was me as well. You get greedy, then you get fearful. Then in the worst case, you actually start increasing your risk instead of decreasing it. So that, I believe, is the eternal struggle of a trader. And it's something that, I mean, if you have 95% win rate, then you can't really get much better, right? Even if it were on live account. But the mental game is where I believe that you can fuck up in the long run. That's what I keep reading. I actually almost, I'm not sure if you can tell what this book is, but maybe you know the author right here.
Yep. Yeah.
So it's How to Be a Disciplined Trader is what it says in English.
Yeah.
And I just downloaded on Audible. I downloaded Mark Douglas's Trading in the Zone just because I want to be able to listen to it over and over. And what incidentally cost me a lot of my account, even when I was trading X mode, it was overexposure, which is where I was just taking more trades at a time than I should have. This is where I really learned from you, where you just said have no more than one trade at a time. And because you notice, when you, for example, when I place in the morning, what I do is I would look at 3 trades, I would find 3 trades that are very good. I would place orders for all 3, and the first one to trigger, I would accept it, and the other 2 I would cancel. And you would quite often notice that even pairs like I'm going to say Euro AUD or NZD USD, they actually move very similarly, and they tend to, for example, draw away at the same time, or they tend to get into the entry at the same time, which means that I believe there will always be correlation, and when the market goes crazy or does what it wants, it can take out all of your trades at the same time. I mean, there was when there were these past few weeks, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe a bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
I had 3 trades I could have sworn were absolutely non-correlated. It was an Australian index. It was, I think, gold euro, and then USD CAD or something. And in 1 hour, all the 3 trades hit stop loss. And supposedly, and I had them for 4 days. That's why I remember that you like to say that you like 1 hour or lower, because you can always tell it's a loser quicker. Well, these trades were good, but in 1 hour, they completely screwed me over. And
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
how can like gold and the US dollar be related to an Australian index? And how can that, so I could have sworn they were uncorrelated, but they were somehow. Something made them move in the same direction. So that's one of the biggest lessons I learned from you, is just to have one good trade at a time, ideally lower time frame, so you don't like bite off your thumbs waiting for the trade to execute. And don't trade too much, because that's always what cost me the most money in the long run.
Yeah,
I didn't have the strategy in place where I set myself max drawdown, which 3%, I'm okay with losing 3% in 1 week. So I just kept losing 5% per week, and I did that 3 weeks in a row when the weeks were really bad. I didn't stop myself, right? So it's super easy to say, but sometimes the biggest win you can do in trading is to just don't do anything and don't lose any money.
yeah,
right?
yeah. Especially when you know you shouldn't be trading and you take a trade and then that trade is a loser. And if you would have just followed your plan, you would have kept more of your profits instead of
Yep.
What would you say has been your biggest shift in trading? So before we go into that, did you join BFT in May? Were you trading before that as well, or did you just start trading with BFT?
So my trading experience before BFT was buying Bitcoin. I literally bought the dip on Bitcoin, and I earned a decent amount of money when the Corona crash happened. So that if I don't know if you call it trading. And then with Revolut, I just bought some stocks, and I bought Tesla incidentally, and I earned 10% in a few days, which I think was also nice. Completely random. I didn't know what I was doing. I was really retail in just saying, oh, maybe this will go up because everybody's going to be watching Netflix now that they're locked down. And I was right. So, but no charting, no nothing whatsoever before that. So BFT was my first true, let's say, look into the world of trading. And I firmly stand by the claim that BFT is the best thing that's ever happened to me in terms of trading, and possibly in terms of having freedom in my life. Because if after these 2 months I have these decent results, and obviously I do firmly believe that the strategy is there. So once I can physically confirm it with a live trading account and give myself a peace of mind that it's not all in my head, then I mean, BFT will have granted me freedom to do what I want in my life, and that's a dream come true for so many of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and considering it's been made, it's like 5 months or 6 months. I mean, 5 months, I would say. Well, I'm gonna say 5 months. But the thing is that you said yourself, right? After 3 years, you were still blowing your accounts, and here we have traders who are with BFT for a few months, 6 months, maybe a year, and they are becoming funded, which I think is absolutely amazing. And
that still blows me out of the water, because when I think about my journey, like it takes a lot of time, but then you have people like you and the other people in the dojo. It's the first year in trading, and they're getting their first like 100K, 200K to trade, which for me in my first year of trading would be like I wouldn't even imagine. So what you guys have here with BFT, it's something really special. I think for yourself, you've been trading since May. That's not a long time at all. And if you're seeing just on backtesting, even an 80% win rate, that's really good. In terms of your trading, I mean, I think you have a really good plan. Like, we know that the strategy works. You've seen it in dojo, that the strategy works. People are getting funded accounts with the way we trade, right? So it definitely works. I think maybe you still believe that there's something missing because you just started in May, and when you hear stories online, it takes a couple of years. So do you feel like something is still missing that you need to go live? What's preventing you to take that next step?
Actually, I have a live account actually, and let's just say that given my overexcitedness and let's say testing all of the different strategies, let's just say I still should have been on demo by now. I should have been, but you know how people are, and me more than most, I would say. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go live and just do this strategy for the next 2 months because I don't really see any other way. I could be backtesting forever and then find out that doesn't work on a demo account, or I could be trading demo, without any fear, with nothing to lose, literally, and then live would bring me different results. So right now there's no other option. Yeah. No other option.
What I would do is, instead of trading your main live account, take a step back and take some of that money out, and then just trade that little amount for a couple of weeks, just so you can get into the emotions of a live account again. So don't trade your main account. I don't know how much you have, but don't trade the bigger capital right away. Take like $50, $100, $150, $200, whatever that number is for you, and then start off with that small amount. And when you can find some consistency in that, and you can see the difference between demo and live, then switch to your primary live account. Because if you can't trade $100 live, you're not going to go trade 1,000 or 10,000 or 20,000. So make sure you can actually still do this, which I think you can. You just kind of have to see it for yourself that you can do it. And again, if you can trade a $100 account consistently, then you're able to trade 1,000 or 10,000, 20,000. And then from there, do you want to keep trading your own capital and keep growing that, or do you want to move into a prop firm? So that's something you have to look at. So I think if you can trade, even if you can just trade that small amount for a couple of weeks or at least 2 months, then you can apply for the prop firm. I don't know if you should risk if you have a larger account, if you should risk that or not. That's up to you. But yeah, that's, again, if you can't trade $100, you're not going to be able to trade 1,000.
That's a great suggestion, actually. Now that I think about it, to trade X mode, 1,000 should be enough, right? Because even with the smallest lot sizes, I think you should be able to do 1% and maybe even 0.5% for 1 hour time frames.
Yeah, you should be. With $100, it won't be 1%. It'll be more than 1%, I think, if you do $100. But you shouldn't blow the account if you do start with $100 and you just follow the strategy. You still shouldn't blow it. But then you can only open one trade, like one position. $1,000, yeah, $1,000 is good if you can afford to risk $1,000. And again, you're not going to blow it, right? It's not like you're just going to blow the account because you have your plan. So if you're cool with $1,000, I think that's a good starting point. And then if you can trade that for let's say 2 months, then I think you can apply for the prop firm.
Okay, that's a really great idea. Just because I will have less money to lose, so I didn't think of that. So definitely appreciate that. Let's see.
Yeah, it's important to take small steps. If you rush into like the prop firm or trading a bigger account too fast, there's a higher probability of you screwing up. But if you take it slow, step by step, it's going to be a lot easier to kind of move into a bigger account or prop firm and stuff like that. A lot of people they try a demo for a couple of weeks, it works out for them. They pay for the challenge with FTMO and then they lose. And then they go back to the drawing board. But if you just take it step by step, you can save yourself a lot of headache, a lot of pressure. So I think if you go from backtesting demo, from demo to a small live account, from there you can start trading the bigger account, or then apply for a prop firm. And if you start working with a prop firm, you only need 10% a month to make a full-time income. You don't need 20 or 50 or 60% a month. You only need 10.
Yeah, might be also worth, because regarding the psychology, and just to make it as let's say as close to prop firm as possible, I'm also thinking maybe about just getting a new account completely and putting the $1,000 there, just so I can link it to my FX book and literally just see only the results from X mode. I've had these two strategy trades hanging around forever, and they're in drawdown, obviously. So maybe just do some minor steps to make it as close to the real thing as humanly possible, which would mean new account, no strategy trades whatsoever, and
Yeah,
just
for
do
sure.
that thing.
That's what I would do. Create a new account, and then I think if you use IC markets, you can just move funds over pretty easily.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so yeah, just create a new account fresh, then you can track your metrics just for that strategy. So yeah, I think that's good.
All right. You also did mention that I should get a checklist for my trades, which I will probably do, and also the journal. But other than that, I'm sure something will come up. But other than that, I believe I am all set. Literally, all I need right now is just to gather results for 2 months. And just like I built confidence in the system by backtesting, now I have to build the confidence in the system by going live and just sticking to my strategy and not being stupid about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you go with Audacity, it's pretty easy to get an account there. They just get a call with you, ask you, how you're trading. They just want to see that this guy is not going to just do stupid stuff. So they just want to know that you have a plan, that you're able to follow a plan. They do ask for some performance, like previous performance, again, just so they can check. If they see, he's opening consistent lot sizes. It's not like today you're opening like 0.1, next day you're opening 0.5, so it's like consistent. You're always using a stop loss. They just want to make sure the risk is as low as possible. So I mean, that's exactly how we trade and how you will trade, and I think that's how you are trading right now. You're always using a stop loss, always a TP. You're not, like randomly increasing lot size, by 10% or whatever. So yeah, I think getting a funded account, it's going to be easy. What's going to be harder is once you get it to maintain that account. So with Audacity, it's going to be, I think, 10% drawdown. If you go to 10%, then they take the account away, and every 10% they double your account. So yeah, 10% drawdown is, I would say, if you have good risk management, it's pretty hard. It'll take you a couple months.
Yes, I would hope so, or hopefully never, but never say never, of course. But 10% is actually quite nice. Regarding prop firms, is there any that you would recommend in particular? Because I quite like Audacity simply because they don't rush you to make those 10%.
Yeah, that's nice.
Again, that's a big deal to me, where I just want to be able to take my time and not be forced to do anything. Because, well, incidentally, there's one thing about them that Barry told me, and is that you can only have 0.5 lot at a time when you have a 15K account, which I don't think you can even risk 1% with that, maybe 0.7 or something. So that's going to be quite tricky sometimes, but maybe I can just do more trades and risk less, which in the end should probably give me better results, right? Because if I fail one, I can still, with the higher win rate, actually kind of slightly increase my profitability. I mean, one way to
yeah, I
find
think
out.
if you bump it up to 2 trades a day, like max 2 trades a day, I think then you should be fine. 0.5, yeah, it's going to be around 0.5%, 0.7% risk per trade, which is fine. On FTMO, lots of people, they also risk just 0.5% per trade. And then what's good, if you even when they double your account, let's say you reach 10%, they double your account, you can even stick to those old numbers just to build up some buffer. Because if I don't know if you go back 10%, do they take away the money they added, or how does that work? Do you know?
I'm not aware if you ask Barry, so yeah, not sure to be honest.
Because what I tell you with FTMO is once they get the live account, or it's not a live account, it's a demo account, but once they get the real account where they can actually withdraw money, once they get their first 20% or 10%, not withdrawing their first profits, but leaving that in and building a buffer of like 20 to 40, or like I would say leaving a buffer of 20%. So when a bad week or bad month happens, they still have the buffer. Because let's say you make 10%, you withdraw 10%, then you're back to 0. If you have a bad week, you go to -5 or -8. There's a lot of pressure for you to not blow that account to -10%, because that's when they take away your account. So leaving the buffer is important. I don't know if that's the same thing with Audacity. But if it is, then you can just keep your lot size the same when they add more money to your account.
From what I figured, once you get 10%, then they double your account, and you get to keep half of what you've earned. I haven't heard Barry mention anything about any buffer or something like that, so I have to ask about it. And is there a prop firm that you would recommend, particularly, like one that you really like and think is the best?
In terms of tech, FTMO has pretty good tech. What I don't like about it is that, you know, if the targets mess up your psychology, then FTMO is not going to be the best pick. Audacity is good, and you said you've calculated the difference, right, between the profits. Which one pays you more?
Yes, I believe Audacity is better in the long run because let's see. Let me just do my calculation. Not in my head because I'm not that good. I do biology, remember?
No,
So
I'm the same. I suck at math.
so if you have 500K, that's gonna be 50. So you're gonna earn 25K per month, assuming that you do 10% per month. With FTMO, that's gonna be 30K, and that's gonna be 0.7. Yeah, so assuming that you would earn 10% per month with both, Audacity would give you $4,000 per month more without the stress, incidentally. So Audacity is better in the long run just because they give you a bigger account to trade with by
Okay, makes sense.
$4,000.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah,
should I say good?
I do like that. There's no pressure with Audacity, because we've had a couple of people fail the challenge just because they're pressured to just get the account back in profit or get to the 10% mark. So yeah, I think you know, if the market conditions don't line up with the challenge, you're not going to be able to hit the targets. You could be in profit, but you won't be able to hit the targets. So with Audacity, it doesn't matter what the market is doing. You can always just trade. So there's no pressure there. I think that's good.
Oh, exactly. Sometimes you're better off not trading, right? And
Yeah.
even though, let's say I have the good risk management system where I don't lose more than 3% in a week,
Yeah.
maybe sometimes you just shouldn't be trading in that week, right? I mean, maybe come U.S. elections or some big Corona crash, you're not going to be doing anything, right? Because in 10 minutes, your whole order may get wiped out. It's like that.
Yeah. Yeah. The
So
only thing
yeah, I
people don't
like
like about the Audacity is that they do have a monthly fee. That's what I heard. Most people don't like the most, but it's just the cost of doing business. I mean, they give you money, so I might as well pay them a little bit upfront.
Yeah, I think it's about $100. Incidentally, you pay like a $200 setup fee, and then $100. And I have no idea how long the first month would take, but I mean, it's gonna be $100 per month, and let's just say it's gonna take me 6 weeks, and I'm gonna earn 750. I mean, I'm still gonna earn more than I lose, right? So.
Yeah.
So I'm not really worried about that. And once you have a bigger account, like 100K or 300K, then like $100 is nothing, you know. So that's
Yeah.
in the long run, I think it's fine. And if they don't pressure you to earn money or anything like that, then as we've kind of established, I do believe that psychology is the biggest part of trading. Once you have your strategy and your trading technique all set, then it's just you and your mind that you have. It's simple, but it's not necessarily easy, right? And that's where just really not getting too greedy and this self-control part comes in. So, I mean, I suppose that whenever something comes up, I mean, you've been amazing in just being so responsive to all of my annoyances. So I would like to thank you for that. And once again, say I'm grateful to have met you. I think you're an amazing mentor. And yeah, I suppose now it's just a matter of putting all this theory into practice and seeing what happens. Risking or having a small account, which would still allow me to have decent risk management, sounds like a logical next step, and I'll just adjust along the way. If you don't mind me asking, how did you come to the conclusion that your strategy is the best? In a sense that how did you also come to the conclusion that one good trade per day or one or two good trades per day, risking very little, are the best solution for you? Because when it comes to my journey of getting to that point, it was that literally everything can be correlated at some point, and just having multiple trades open, especially small ones, just Trump sneezes and everything crashes. So that was my journey of how I got there, and just realizing that minimum exposure, but constant minimum exposure, is probably the best course of action. So how did you arrive to this strategy, which you've taught me pretty much?
Well, when you trade for 5 years, you kind of go through quite a bit. So you kind of notice these patterns. Don't do this, maybe this, and then someone saying this. So you pick up these pieces from your own experience, and then also from other people. So I didn't have like a specific person that, you know, taught me everything that made me into the trader I am today. It was more through my own experience and more by picking like multiple things up from different places, so YouTube and things like that. So everything I gave you guys so far is what I've learned in the last 5 years. And whatever I learn over the next 5 years, you guys will also get that. So whatever I've given you guys now is what I've learned in the last 5 years. So not risking too much, you know, just, you know, and I've noticed, you know, the more trades I take in a day, the worse the day is. If I just take one trade a day consistently, those are my best weeks. So those are the things I kind of pick up, and then whatever I sticks with me, whatever I think improved for myself, that's what I then share with you guys and with what I share with you, and then also add to my own trading. So most of that stuff was just trial and error. And then sometimes, you know, you experience things, you think, you know, it's just that one time, and then you hear someone saying that you have to do it like this and this, and then you notice, okay, that's actually true, because that's where my bad trades were kind of going from and stuff like that. So yeah, but mostly just trial and error. Yeah. So whatever you learned since May, you know, it took me 5 years basically.
That's an amazing perspective to have. Again, a lot of people take, let's say, the knowledge that they get from BFT for granted, right? But it really is, the learning curve is so much faster. It's insane. And, and even for me, even though I suppose I should be grateful for having done so many mistakes, because now they are hardwired into my brain. Like, oh, if you do 4 or 5 US dollar longs with exotics, that's not a good idea, especially when there's a crisis in America, which happens like 2 days after you take all those longs on US dollar. That's a true story, by the way. So, you know, let's just say I learned my lessons the hard way. But most of the time, it literally was not sticking to the strategy. So again, if you tested the strategy and it's sound and it's good, then literally all you have to do is stick to the strategy, which is simple but not easy.
Yeah.
So I suppose that that's gonna be the motto of my next 2 months. Just literally doing these few things which take me like 15 minutes per day to execute, and that's literally it. And that's gonna be, I think, the toughest part, because already I can see, oh, but I mean, I have this really high win rate in 1 hour, but what if I try 15 minutes? You know, maybe I'll get even more profits and all that.
Yeah.
And of course I might, but I like to think that I have grown a little bit at least, and that perhaps I will backtest first and then demo account, and maybe then I would go for live.
Yeah. And you know, just because you're getting really good results doesn't mean you shouldn't stop improving. But you always see, like, how can I get more out of a trade? Can I add more position on a specific trade that I've seen play out so many times? Or how can I reduce my risk? How can I increase my reward? How can I basically improve? So you still got to look for that all the time, but it's just how we approach it, right? Is it just going to be, you know, random, just doing random things, or do you have your main thing and then you just kind of, you know, backtest something to see if the backtesting, whatever thesis you come up with will improve your main strategy? But where it gets dangerous when you kind of hop around and start doing different things. But if you have your main strategy that you know works, and you kind of find little things you can tweak on that, that's something you have to keep doing. But you know, you don't do that just on a live account, right? You have your main income source, which is your main strategy. Then you have the things you want to test and optimize. You start it on backtesting, and then you do that on demo. Once you know it works, then you can apply that to your main account, right? But it's, again, those small baby steps that we have to take in order to know that this will actually work, what we want to do.
While we're at it, since even though trading can give a person a great deal of freedom in their life, that's why we do it, right? I decided to try and approach it more like a job than just a hobby, because even though I literally just go through the markets in the morning, and if I see some very good setups, I just set my limit orders, and then I just cancel the ones that didn't trigger first, right? So I decided to spend at least 10 to 15 minutes backtesting every single day, and to at least, because it's the, I'm not sure how you call them, but these little habits. For example, just run 100 meters, but you never run 100 meters, right? You always do more, because like, what's the point of doing 100 meters? So I set these little daily goals for me, which is 10 minutes of trading education per day, whether it's BFT or Mark Douglas or whatever, and then 10 minutes of backtesting. Is there something that you do every day to improve your trading career besides backtesting and just learning? Anything that's worked for you personally?
So now at this point, what I do, I just do some backtesting on the weekends. So whatever kind of learn throughout the week, if there's something new I noticed. So for example, last week or last weekend, I was backtesting the the resistance and support trades, the bounces with the extensions, seeing if I can get the entry on extensions instead of the resistance, just to get a better entry. So I still do backtesting, but I'm more at a point where I don't need to do it daily. I used to do daily, but now it's just more over the weekend whenever I think I have to. In terms of the to further progress and kind of keep reminding myself of the rules, reading my trading plan again, making or going through some material when it comes to psychology and stuff like that. So just kind of going over material and reading. Or even just going through my plan kind of reinforces what I have to do for the day. But yeah, in terms of my routine morning, it's just, usually I get up, breakfast, coffee, then I look at the charts, and then I kind of look at the Grand Dojo right now, see what people are doing, kind of gives me an idea of what's going on right now. So yeah, that's been my routine. Again, your routine is going to be different because you've only been trading since May, and I've been trading for longer, so my routine is going to be different than yours. I think backtesting before your session really helps a lot. Because you can see, then you can kind of get that confidence again that the strategy works. You just have to be patient for the right setup. So yeah, I agree that just 10-20 minutes a day, over a year, that makes a big difference. If you do that and someone doesn't, you're going to be a better trader coming out than someone who only does it like once a week for 10 minutes, right?
That's the goal exactly. And as you said yourself, I believe that 80% of successful trading is just going to be reminding yourself of the basics, sticking to the rules, and just even doing backtesting of stuff that you already know, just to affirm the confidence and to affirm that the system and that you also work that's gonna be a huge deal psychologically, right? Just to make sure that it all works. It still works. It worked yesterday. It's working today. And the trades that I'll take today are probably going to end up one of the winning ones, just because I've seen what I can do with the amazing system that we have. And how to put it, I'm not going to do anything stupid, like risking 5% of trade, or because I've been there at least. Maybe you have as well. So how many accounts have you blown while we're at it? Or is it a secret?
Two. I don't even know the number. It's like first you start with $100, then you start with five. Well, first usually it's a bigger amount, so it was I think it was 400, and then not big, but back then it was big, so it was like 400, and then I instantly deposited more, another 400, and it was like 800, and then I went back to like 200, and then it was like then demo was going well, and I was like, okay, now it's time to deposit more. Then it went to like 1,000, and then 12, and then 2,000. So yeah, I've blown quite a bit, and then I took a break. And then deposit some more money again. So it was crazy. It was not fun.
What made you persevere? Like, what made you not give up after all this time?
Well, my problem was I was trying to rush it, and I noticed the more I try to rush trading, the worse the result is. So I just came to a point where I say, okay, I'm no longer going to rush it. I'm just going to take it very slow, very patiently. And then that's when I kind of made that shift in my mind that I don't need this right now. I don't care how long it takes, and just. I didn't really care of the outcome, just kind of focus on the craft. That's where I had the best result. And the more you try to push for it, for the result, for the end result, I found for me personally, the further I pushed away that goal. But when I removed myself from that goal and I just focused on the craft, that's where I had the biggest shift. If you have further questions, just give me a shout.
Yeah, don't worry, I have a very big mouth, as I'm sure you know.
No worries. It's not that bad. I tend to have a big mouth too. So.
It's practical in life, Yeah.
All right, I gotta hop off. Gotta prepare for the Q&A in a few minutes here.
All right. So see you around, Pat.
All right, see ya.